I don't know. I'm not gonna stop writing love songs when that's what comes out. I'm not gonna stop writing sex songs if that's when that comes out.
Hi, my name's Cara, and I'm here in conversation with Miguel for the latest in NME's In Conversation series. I guess obviously the past year has been a bit weird, but I feel like even before this past year, it's been like a while since you put out an album, for example. What have you been up to, like when you've been pausing or seemingly been pausing from music?
Really, just human stuff, I guess. Creativity is very much a bucket with a hole in it, and there's different sort of things that help either slow down the flow or speed it up. And I think I just needed some time to sort of refill and maybe even swap out the bucket, so to speak. But just doing life stuff, man, and that naturally comes with like life, and I think any artist's work is a reflection of whatever's in that whatever's happening in their world. So I just needed to sort of kind of slow down and calibrate with the self, which has been extremely rewarding, and really happy that I'm in this place now where my priorities are clear and I can get back to sharing, which is exciting.
Does it ever get a bit scary being like, okay, I'm going to put all this stuff out there again? Or is it exciting?
It's exciting. It's really exciting. I'm coming in with a very different, I guess, set of glasses.
Okay. In what sense?
I think the delusion it takes to and this is healthy delusion. It takes to put, to really just like go after things that you believe in, regardless of whatever you're doing. There's always going to be someone or, people that say like, it's not possible, or remind you of the odds, or, look at other people who've tried and maybe didn't get there. So you have to have a bit of that to just be able to tune out. In some ways, it's like a rose-colored, pair of rose-colored glasses.
Mm-hmm.
And this time I've chosen to sort of, instead of put rose-colored glasses on, just maybe put some glasses that sharpen sharpen whatever stigmas there may be, and come in just completely like clear about where I want to, hopefully, or where I can fill in some gaps, and just be really, really happy about being able to learn in the process.
Mm-hmm.
A different set of glasses. Yeah.
Do you feel comfortable sharing some of the things that you've learned along the way?
Totally. I think it all really comes back to sort of what I'm saying. Just being really in love with the process and falling back in love with the process has been a major shift, and maybe not even a new shift, just probably a return in the same way that like the alchemist, it's like you may go out there searching for that thing that you think that you were looking for, and often it'll just bring you right back to where you started. And that's just the love. I've always loved sort of that journey as a story. I never thought that it would take on new meaning. It would take take on new personal meanings through experience. And yeah, just I think that's probably the biggest one, is just falling in love with the process.
One thing that you've done in the past year is return to Art Dealer Chic. And, you put them on streaming, and you've just put out Art Dealer Chic 4. So if you could maybe tell me a little bit about what it was that brought you back to that place.
Yeah, the sort of just getting back to creating for the sake of creating, and in interviews that always sort of comes off maybe negative, but I think what I really mean to say is when the opportunities of creating and finding an audience sort of open up new opportunities for ways of connecting that obviously help you survive the business of creating and what that means and everything that comes with that. Just your time, it goes where you where the focus of your time was about learning, about researching, about, you know, digesting and then transmuting, however, whatever that process is for the creative. When it becomes a business, there just comes a lot of other like new, you know, opportunities, new ways of using your time, and that cuts into the time and can affect. I'm trying to think of how best to say this without it being negative, because, you know, I think in interviews, I'm when I say this, it comes off as if I lost something, that
Yeah.
I'm returning to some, you know, something, and it's not so much a loss. It's just that I grew.
Mm. Yeah. It's
And
a new stage. Like,
yeah, it just comes with it, and you grow, and then, you know, you have to, in the same way that your phone, you know, your phone or computer or whatever has a new operating system every how often. um as humans, I think we, being creatures of habit, just get into like modes, and then that just becomes our mode of operation. And coming back to Art Dealer Chic was me going, let's look at the operating systems. Let's see what parts of the operating systems, you know, could be optimized, which ones maybe need complete rewrites, which ones need to be deleted, you know, and then proceed, you know, and then tweak. And the that whole concept really starts at Art Dealer Chic, and that was the beginning of me sort of wanting to just have this conversation with my fans, that like you can curate your own experience, because it was new to me. That was something that was like, wow, oh, okay, I get it. Like you can really do it. I was doing it in real time, and just wanting to share that concept with as many people as I could through the music. So
in terms of like putting this stuff out there now, after, particularly after this past year, which has obviously been, like, for everyone, a very heavy year in some shape or form, I guess. So like, how has the past year been for you in general, and how does it feel like creating and putting stuff out there?
the past year's been oh man, it's like roller coaster out of like a sci-fi. You know, it's like we all saw, you know, those epidemic movies, you know, in like early 2000s, you know, Contagion, and like we saw those, and we're like, yeah, it's crazy, and it's a possibility. You never thought, I don't think anyone was expecting it. That, along with sort of everything sort of capitulating socially, I think just on a world scale, we're just seeing a lot of the realities of necessary operating system upgrades, and that comes with a you know, seeing the truth of what things really are. Processing that was a very much a roller coaster. You know, every morning, just like trying to be a, you know, educate yourself and be safe, and, you know, wanting to be up on what's happening, but then not let it kill your whole drive or your whole, you know, anything, optimism or whatever. But it also was really awesome in the space, like the bandwidth, global pause, you know, just a global like, hey, it's all of us like just sit the fuck down for a second and just really maybe consider like, where are we at? What really matters? What are the priorities? Like, is this, you really love your job, or that person that you share your home with? What about the, you know, like now you can't go anywhere, you can't escape, you know, what is that? And really consider. So I am very much grateful for that space.
It's kind of like the Groundhog Day thing, right? Where like you're being forced to do the same thing again and again until you like fix your patterns and like make things better for yourself.
You're like, yo, what's that one thing that's really just this, that pushes the snowball that I can't seem to like get out of the rat race, you know? It's like, what is that? How does that turn into that? Very much grateful. And I think I learned a lot. And I think a lot of people did too, you know?
I saw that you spoke a little bit about mental health and people of color, and like I don't know what it's like in the States, but I think definitely here in the UK, I feel like people of color in our communities like more stigmatized still to talk about this stuff, like particularly within our families, for example. Like, so I guess I was curious about like are you doing some work in that kind of area?
Yeah, it's been a real pleasure and really helpful in like my own personal growth to speak about my experience with, you know, high school students, with adults, with doctors, in open settings, and be able to just share maybe the things that have helped me, to just share that I've experienced it alone. I think is really cathartic, because you start to find people who um, can relate to maybe the what is that, when, you know, when things are sort of off limits in a family, or in a culture, in a community.
Taboo, like,
Yeah, when things are sort of avoided and taboo, to find that there's these points of commonality, you know, when people share things in common, and you realize that, you know, there's so many people who experience these things and don't really often talk about it, you know, and yeah, it's been something that, again, back to like operating systems, the reason why it's been important for me to continue to do it and to actually put myself out there, excuse me, as an advocate, and as a just someone who is comfortable sharing whatever my experience has been, is just because I'm seeing a lack, you know, as I'm seeing that there weren't that many that I would love to even just be able to relate to, that come from places like I came from, that, you know, have aspirations like mine, or who have accomplished things in music or art or whatever, you know, that have been able to share or felt comfortable to share their experience. So I think about the young me, and whoever that kid that can relate to my story, and how much it could have helped, you know, knowing that you can choose, you can curate even the way that you think. You can, not just how you move, how you act, what you bring into your life in terms of your friends, or your things like your style, or, you know, what your modes of expression, whatever your scenes, it can go even deeper into the way that you think. And I found the more that I unravel or untangle those operating systems, the easier it is to firm up the ways that feel the most rewarding, and then also to sort of remove the things that feel like they're just being repeated out of habit, you know, and that maybe aren't as serving. So just want to share that with people. Like, it's a trip. Like, you don't want to be preachy, you know. So I guess it's more just like, I feel like I could help here. So let me just do what I can to help.
I guess one thing I'm kind of interested in, I feel like the way that you refer to even like how your mind works, and, you know, like talking about like reconfiguring, like it all just sounds super futuristic. Do you know what I mean? Like you talk in, I don't know, like,
Live in the future.
yeah, is that like something you are aware of, or like that you consciously do, or that's just how you think in like a futuristic kind of way?
I look for ways to make the concept as relatable, or like you can anyone that, because it's just it's such everyday, like, oh, you know, like anyone can relate to this, because this is every morning, day, noon, like people sleep with this by their fucking heads now. You know what I mean? It's just like literally like within reach. I think it's a little bit of understanding that, yeah, like concepts that I guess as a songwriter, you know, it's like what can people understand? So you just go, oh yeah, let me just grab the thing that's the most like quickly graspable on in every broadly, you know, every age range. Even the little kid, like one of my best friends has kids that are like 9 and 7. I could say that exact same thing and they'll get it. They'll be like, oh yeah, the operating system's upgrade. Oh, or you have 12, 13 point, whatever. Yeah. So you can do that, you know, I don't know.
One thing that I guess I wanted to like get into with Art Dealer Chic a little bit more was on like So I Lie. I feel like there's like so much vulnerability on that, just to even admit, you know, that idea that people lie about being okay even when they're really not. which I thought was cool. But is there also, I didn't make a note of which track this was on, so that's my bad. But there's like, is it the bit from Closer? You know, the bit where it's Julia Roberts like yelling
Yeah,
about
good ear. Good.
yeah. What brought that sample on?
No, I mean, I as a guy, I just like relate. So I related so hard to that scene, and I guess I sort of was writing the song from every bit of personal experience in each situation. You know, I'm literally the writing of that song was like, who am I in every one of these positions of a love triangle? Like, what would this feel like? What does this feel like? And conversations with close friends and experiences in my younger days of maybe being the other guy, maybe being the person being cheated on, you know, even if it wasn't like legit cheating, if it was just like someone I was seeing, I thought we were having we were really getting on and it was exclusive, and then finding out that it wasn't exclusive, you know, on both sides, you know, pulling from those experiences, and it's just a fucked up situation. So yeah. And for whatever reason, it made me think of that film. And it's one of my favorite films for dialogue.
It's got some wild dialogue. So.
Oh, all the way through. I mean, it doesn't really get better than English dialogue, just because I think naturally there's like a wit and there's just like a wittiness. There's a English humor and wit that
I'll take that. Sure.
Oh my God. It's my favorite. It's my favorite. It's like, it's so charming. And I think the core, obviously the actors are incredible. You know, the actors in the film. Clive Owen is one of my favorites. It was really dope to hear that. I mean, he had to literally hear the song and approve it.
Oh,
so
really?
Oh yeah. Like it went through the whole thing, like the studio, the director, the blah, like we had to sort of get approval from every level for that film. So knowing that it was approved on you know, from the actors in the scene, Clive Owen and Julia Roberts, is kind of cool.
It's very difficult to ask this in a way that's not kind of awkward, but I'm just gonna, you know, plow through, I guess. Right. But obviously, I feel like quite a lot of your music is pretty sexy, right? Like historically, that's like a thing. And obviously, this past year for a lot of people has like not really had that kind of intimacy. You know, this is like the nicest way I can put this. Yeah. So I guess, you know, like
you're doing great too. It's great.
So I'm just thinking, like, I don't know, like, what advice do you have for all the people who are like maybe about to emerge back into the world of like romance and dating and stuff? Because I don't know, I think it's going to be super overwhelming, but everyone's also maybe going to be really excited. I don't know.
Yeah, that's I think about that too. Like, I'm not one-dimensional human. Like, I'm not always.
No.
You know, and I guess all of this is like probably I'm really subscribed to yin and yang sort of belief that in the good there resides a little bit of darkness, or in the light there's a darkness, and on the other side, you know, it's the same. In reverse. I don't know. I'm not gonna stop writing love songs when that's what comes out. You know, I'm not gonna stop writing sex songs if that's when that comes out. And they do. You know, it happens and it's coming, but it's not all that's coming. And I don't know. It's not all that comes. That's not all I think about. I see more of the world, you know. There's just more of the world in my even in my like field of vision, not even peripheral now, you know. And before it was like very like, okay, how can I, you know, play this game, be a real, like all of the things that whatever, you know, recording artists may really be thinking of. Yeah, just mode of operation is just different.
In terms of like what we can expect from you, because obviously, you know, you mentioned that that's not all that's like coming up in terms of new music, but like I know that you're involved in a TV show that's coming up.
Yeah.
So what
there's a lot, so many things. Like again, I guess the platform, like having a platform to have people that actually pay attention to what you do is like such a blessing. And I'm in a place in my life where I'm just like, I want to maximize using my platform for things that I feel, you know, add value, and sort of take whatever my interests are, and figure out ways to apply it so that whatever I do is not just to do it, but has some sort of purpose, and at least has a good intention. The drop is like, I'm really excited about it because of my personal, like, just appreciation for great style and people who, you know, express themselves through fashion and through their own style, you know, in music and culture through our history, especially through music, rock and roll and R&B, and just, you know, the whole space, jazz, like icons, you know, actors who just had great style, and you know, just expression to me is really dope. The business of fashion is like so fascinating to me. Being involved in this show as a producer has been really rewarding because it's an intersection of it allows me to sort of take an intersection of interest and reach a broad audience to inform myself and them, and also give a platform to like really, really dope, talented, you know, voices in the space, and people who are passionate about what they do, and are coming from a place of, you know, I made this for us, for our group of people, or for our community, our friends, and this is our way, our expression, and, you know, just sort of like bringing that to the forefront. That alone is really, really dope and exciting. But then to be able to take that and educate them on building business that doesn't come at the detriment of the earth or human, or possible human being, you know, or other ecosystems, I think is just a really dope opportunity. So I get to do a lot of things all at once. That's maximized, you know, it's like maximize. I was like, oh man, that's awesome. Also, like on other entrepreneurial fronts, like just being an owner in technologies that help completely transform our carbon emissions for not just carbon, excuse me, most important, like plastic use, single-use plastics, and carbon emissions for any and every water-based product, from like paint or makeup or Coca-Cola, like any soft drink or any water-based product, cleaning fluid. I mean, it sort of covers such a crazy spectrum of products, and its impact is like, you know, could be global. I mean, I look at things like that and I'm excited about those things, and being able to lend my voice, my platform, you know, and maybe connect any dots there has been super, super fun and exciting for me. So, and that technology is called Vessel, which is incredible. You can look that up, VESSL.
Okay.
Really dope. So like just looking at ways where I can apply myself and my creativity, and utilize whatever, you know, platform I have to bring in alternative solutions, because I think that's sort of where we're sort of at the crossroads in humanity. Is like, all right, we got to this point, we can share information instantaneously and all at once. Like this is the big, huge divide, you know, massive challenge for human beings, just sharing information. And now we have it. Now we have to take that information and sort of start making the upgrades. And it's exciting to start to find these alternatives and hopefully, you know, make them more and more viable.
It's very cool. Are you hopeful about that stuff? Because again, I just feel like it's really difficult for me to not feel super anxious about like climate stuff. Is it in like doing the work in these areas that kind of makes you feel a bit more hopeful about them?
Not to get like too heady or philosophical, like I just think all human challenge is relative. You know, the challenges of living a human life in, you know, ancient times was probably more about like, can you feed yourself? Can you survive the weather the changes of natural weather? You know what I'm saying? Just can you survive through that? Now our challenges are different because we've come up with solutions for some of the basic survival things. Like, what are our challenges now? So I think in every iteration of humanity, there are going to be big challenges. And I think the real work comes from figuring out how you can weather all that, manage all of that, and then like still grow as human beings and like grow empathy, grow like happiness and fulfillment.
Mhm.
And this is where it gets super philosophical. We won't go too deep, but I don't know. That's my own thing. So yeah, I look at it as like, hey, these are our challenges now. And can I help meet some of these challenges, or at least inform people about them? What can I do? How can I help? If I do that in my lifespan, when when it's my time to go, like, and they're talking about the things that I did, like I can be proud about, spending my time trying to make certain ideas more viable, shed more light on things that are our challenges and things that we should be considering. And I guess I just look at it like that. So I don't know that I'm anxious about it, because the future's going to have its own challenges, but I know the challenge is right here, right now. So
That's probably a good way of looking at it. Like,
shit. I mean, talk about trying to manage anxiety. It's like it may just be the coping. I don't know. I don't have all the answers.
kind of touching on something you said earlier, obviously as an artist, your work covers so many different things, and like it's not one dimensional at all. But like, I guess, do you think there are any misconceptions about you as an artist?
I probably would answer that question in the past, but I guess I'm like, that's not my job.
Yeah.
It's probably one of my favorite things, like upgrades, back to this analogy, maximizing on the things that add value, and maximizing my attention on things that really actually change or help me do my job, do whatever the work feels the most fulfilling. But that's considering, people's perception of my work, where it's important. It can be important, I guess, in things like marketing and sales, and whether or not things translate. That's not the best use of my time and my mental energy. Certainly not the most healthy. It's not the most healthy. And I've learned that the hard way. So I'm really good. I'm really happy to be in a place to just like do what really feels like it makes me feel like my time is well spent. My 24 hours is like, all right, you did your fucking thing, man. You're coming from the right place. You're learning something. You're educating, and you're helping come up with alternatives.
Obviously, you're proud of the work that you're doing now, but in terms of your career in general, looking back, like what have been some of the highlights so far?
Highlights are probably more personal. Getting encouragement from people that I've looked up to have been highlights. All the way from like a Smokey Robinson and Verdine, or all the guys from Earth, Wind and Fire. But getting encouragement from them, and or Lenny, or just the people that you grow up like, just as points of reference of what can be done, and like, hey, these are the standards of excellence. And when you get the thumbs up and encouragement from people who really did their thing and really made their mark, that is like, those are benchmarks. And I think that's a trippy thing, is like, as an artist, work really hard to not care about what anyone cares, thinks or cares about your work. But inevitably, because it is a human, is one thing that humans really, really do that's unique to humans, is to create things. That's pretty crazy. It's really, really dope. And the things that also come from being able to find an audience who support me enough that I can do my work and support myself and support my family. Having other people believe in you beside yourself, that's a blessing. So those are benchmarks for me. It's really cool.
Well, I think we're gonna have to wrap up soon, but I just wanted to ask, is there anything else that you want people to know about you, or what's coming up for you?
Lots of music. You have not seen the end of Miguel. This is the very, very beginning. I'm so excited. I'm more than anything just excited to just be in this headspace, whatever this headspace is, and just to give, and just to share, and to hopefully offer alternatives, hopefully help build and discover, new alternatives to things. And doing my work in that way is like super fulfilling. So excited to share.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to kind of like catch you full circle,
I know.
and to see you again.